Hello everyone, Untitled welcome to another mod overview, this time on wireless redstone. A mod that simply adds in a multitude of different things, such as a transceiver, which is a transmitter and receiver sort of item, and then you've got a few others such as wireless button, lever, and pressure plate, along with some commands, some permissions, and from there you can pretty much just set up channels and use multiple different use cases for them. So yeah, just sort of demo what each one can do. We'll go with the recipes first though. So you've got pretty much just a transceiver and a pressure plate. Same but with a button, and same but with a lever for those. And the transceiver is pretty much just iron nuggets, quartz, and redstone. And yeah, so when you put any of the following down, just get rid of the weather. And we'll set the time of day. And what happens when you place any of these three in the world, it'll come up with this here. So it'll say select channel. Obviously you won't have any, but I've created two. And you've got this thing here to search between channels. Now obviously you can create a new one, and you can type in here, and I'll just say channel 3. Obviously you can name it whatever you want. It's suitable, like say mob farm or animal pen or whatever sort of thing you can come up with, sorting system. So yeah, so if you want to create channels, that's how that works. Otherwise, pretty much what you'll do after you've just set up a bunch, obviously in an area, you want to actually use the transceiver. You can see there's the red there, and there's the blue or greenish there. So what happens when you pretty much place this in the world, it'll ask you whether or not you want it to be a transmitter or a receiver. Transmitter, of course, you can select the channel. If you don't select anything, it just pops off. And you've got obviously receiver, the following there. And obviously what you'll be doing with these is pretty much just having it where whichever you've got the wireless version of the pressure plate button or lever, it'll then obviously activate, and then the others will get the following from it. So we just use, for example, a wireless lever. That's already gonna get it from there. If I do it with the button, even if it's, as you can obviously tell with the lever, not connected to a transmitter, I can still send a signal. If I do have it set with the signal, it'll still send it, of course, no problem. And I've just got the lamp so you can get an idea of what it's doing, or which one it's being sent to. And yeah, that's pretty much it for those. Otherwise, obviously, there is the ability to set it up like so if you want a circuit. Obviously, I'm not going to try and replicate it completely, but there's the ability to do that. Otherwise, there is some commands which we'll try out. So we want channels grant. Oops, channels. We want to grant. We want, say, I don't know, channel 1. For me, you have, I think it's just permission. Yeah, so I'm granting permission for myself to, otherwise, so channel permissions are disabled and so. Okay, it's probably because obviously I'm single player, so it's not really doing much. But I'm assuming it would mean that I have privilege to then use these, I think. Or even see the channels or something. Yeah, to access the channels. So you can prevent other users from using certain channels and such if you set them up accordingly, and that obviously not have griefing or other means with other players using them. We can revoke our privileges, of course. So we just do that. We'll just follow it exactly what it has, just to see in there all the extra information. So I want to ban myself, revoke my privileges of channel 3, for example. There's that. Again, disabled because it won't show it, but it would obviously show something else saying it's like your privileges have been granted or revoked, I assume. And if we go to, I'll just clear that, just go to show, and that'll be that, and it'll show all the channels. So we can edit that, we can remove it, we can create a new one, and so on. So if you don't have obviously or want to just place down another one in the world to create something, you can pretty much just use the show command, and it'll make it easier to manage what you've already got, rather than placing a new one down. And obviously just selecting these, you can see exactly which channel they come from, or at least the transceivers you can. If they're in transmitter or receiver mode, you can't be pressure play, button, or lever. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for those, but there is obviously some commands which you can easily just access via resource packs menu, going in here, and then actually under server configs, because this is server config 1, not a regular, so you can find that there. Pretty much what you get as options is the ability to set obviously the public right or otherwise. So this will obviously have it so your channels will be visible to all players with full permission to rename or delete them, obviously upon granting certain things. Privileges, so you've got private, public read, and public write. So obviously private will be that it's, I assume, your own. You've got public read, which obviously means that they can look at things, but they're not actually able to do anything about it. And then write means obviously they can manipulate it and change certain aspects. If I'm going off similar with like other stuff that write and read is considered for. And it's currently in public read mode, so I probably could change that to public write, and I assume that if it were for privileges or something like that, I would probably be able to access it now. But again, I am in single player, so it's probably not really going to matter too much. But in multiplayer, of course, if I wanted others to be able to do it, then yeah. Otherwise, you've got allows to override command name used for showing channels that are listed or granting or revoking permissions. So the channel is set to private. You got command name, which is channels. So I assume you can change the command name to whatever you want as a customizable element. That's interesting. That'll be redefined on purpose, but that's interesting. So you can change that to whatever you want. But it'll still have the same function, of course. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.